Hey everyone, it's Rick. I'm here in Oak Park, Illinois, and I'm going to take you on a tour of some incredible architecture on one of the most famous streets in Oak Park, where you'll find a lot of Frank Lloyd Wrights, some Queen Anne style, colonials, and all kinds of different residential architecture. So let's go take a walk. Oak Park is a suburb just west of Chicago, Illinois. It was officially incorporated in 1902 and today has a population of just over 50,000. It's connected by trains to Chicago, so it's easy to live here and work in Chicago at the same time. You don't have to walk around much to realize this is a really nice part of town. It's dotted with parks, is very walkable, has dozens of dining options, and the homes here are some of the most interesting in the United States. Of the more than 400 standing Frank Lloyd Wright designed properties around the country, I've visited just over half of them, and you'll find more Frank Lloyd Wright designed residential properties here than in any other area in the country. This area will always be a special treat for me to visit, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Make sure you stay until the end of the video, as I have a special surprise for you that I didn't even know about before shooting this video. Now, before we turn the corner onto Forest Avenue, we're passing by the north side of the Frank Lloyd Wright home and studio. Frank Lloyd Wright was 22 years old when he purchased the property and built the home in 1889 with a $5,000 loan from his employer and fellow architect Louis Sullivan. The studio section was built in 1898 as an addition, though is connected by a walkway inside. The Wrights lived here with their children until 1909. The home then went through many changes through the years and was of course designated as a National Historic Landmark in 1976. Here in Chicago is where the Prairie School architecture was born, as an idea to create a uniquely North American style that reflected the wide open spaces of the prairie. Though many architects practiced the style, and it wasn't invented at this very place, what came from this studio had a very big impact on the style and the architecture of the future, not to mention some of the most uniquely American art we have. As we continue down Forest Avenue, we will pass by some truly amazing homes in varying styles. Though as a fan of Frank, I'll point these out as we're walking. Here we're passing by the William Copeland home, which was not initially designed by Wright, though he was commissioned to design the remodel in 1909. While not entirely unchanged, the roofline was extended in the prairie style, and much of the interior was reworked as well. This one coming up is one of my favorites. The Arthur B Heurtley house was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright and constructed in 1902. The Heurtley house is considered one of the earliest examples of Frank Lloyd Wright house in full prairie style and was added to the U.S. National Register of Historic Places when it was designated a National Historic Landmark on February 16th of 2000. In 1997, the house was said to be in a bad state of disrepair, though has since been renovated to how you see it today. As we turn the corner onto Elizabeth Court, we're approaching another favorite. Coming in on the left side, you'll start to see the M Gale house, which was completed in 1909 and is of course listed on the National Register of Historic Places. This home is held in high regard as one of the uniquely Wright prairie style, a style which he would continue creating up until Fallingwater in 1936. We'll head back towards Forest Avenue. Here we start to see the A Beachy house. Initially a Gothic cottage-style home, this home was completely remodeled by Wright in 1906. I'm shooting this from the sidewalk, and you may notice it's turned to the side at a right angle to take advantage of the full yard open space. You might see some of the Japanese influence as well in this redesign, as Wright has just returned from a trip to Japan when he did this. It of course was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1973. Continuing down Forest Avenue, we start to come into view of the Frank W. Thomas house, which was designed by Wright in 1901. This is one of the very first prairie homes and was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1972. Having made our way down Forest Avenue, we're going to turn around and head back up the other side of the street. The Hills-DeCaro house was nearly a complete remodel done by Wright in 1906. It bears some of the Japanese influence seen in much of Wright's work. While later remodels have made some changes to it, it's largely been restored to Wright's original intention. Of special note, as we pass by, on the north section of the yard is a ticket booth preserved from the Chicago World's Fair. In the adjoining lot, the Nathan G. Moore House was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright and was done in 1895 as a 3-story Tudor Revival style at the client's wishes, though a fire in 1922 gave Wright the opportunity to redesign the house, which had the 3rd story removed to what you see today. Here you can see more of the Mayan culture's influence on Wright's style, like you'd see in some of his homes in Los Angeles. Here we have the Robert P. Parker House, designed in 1892. The colorful one is the Thomas Gale House, and also was designed in 1892. And the wood-sided one is the Walter Gale House, designed in 1893 by Wright. The Walter Gale House was the first house Wright designed independently after leaving the firm of Adler and Sullivan, and like the 2 prior, these are some of the most modest homes Wright ever designed at the time, and have similar dimensions. The Robert Parker House and the Thomas Gale House, the colorful one, are also what are referenced as the 9 bootleg houses, which were designed as a side work from his regular employer Adler and Sullivan. These bootleg houses would ultimately lead to Wright losing his job there. Unity of Oak Park Spiritual Center, also known as the James and Nina Taylor House, was built in 1912 and designed by architect George Maher in a distinctive prairie style, which was later sold to the Unity Church in 1965. The George W. Furbeck house was designed by Wright in 1897. Originally having an open porch, alterations were made in 1920 to enclose the porch. Part of the significance of the house in the Wright evolution of designs is that this represents a transitional phase between the Queen Anne style designs to fully modern designs. As promised, here's a surprise I didn't expect to run into. Yes, the author of The Old Man and the Sea was brought to us right here. Ernest Hemingway was born in Oak Park, Illinois, in July 21st, 1899, in the home we're approaching here, and it was built by his maternal grandparents. He spent the first 6 years of his life here in this home when the family sold it in 1905. While passing through different phases, it has since been restored to its original look and is now a museum to the famed author. The home was the first in the area to have electricity. Not far down the road, in just a quick turn, we are going to approach another masterpiece of Frank Lloyd Wright's, the Unity Temple. Unity Temple is a Unitarian Universalist church designed by Frank Lloyd Wright between 1905 and 1908 and is constructed largely from reinforced concrete. It is considered by some to be the first modern-style building in the world. In 2019, it was added to the UNESCO World Heritage List. As the temple was built on a busy street, no street-level windows were added, and light would be directed from the windows in the upper walls and ceiling. Its interior design was such that no person would be more than 40 feet from the pulpit with its interior balconies. Unity Temple was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1970. Thanks everyone for watching our architectural walk around Oak Park, Illinois. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more Let's Go Take a Walk adventures. While they don't allow video recording inside Unity Temple, I'll leave you with some shots from the interior.